与えたまえ。
How overpowered should you be to become the toughest guy in the Isekai world? How about you become the most undefeatable guy or girl in the whole world? Today we're going to go over 10 Isekai anime where the main character is undefeatable. Let's get started. 10. Ange Vierge. We all love card games, right? Ange Vierge speaks of one such card game that manages to send a bunch of teenage girls to a battleground. This happens when Hyrule portals suddenly open and then proceed to fuse 5 different worlds together. This time, instead of an overpowered male character, you get an overpowered female character, and you're definitely going to like her personality. All of the main characters in the show are fleshed out, and each of them plays a major role in moving the story forward. The show also has tons of action and an interesting setting. Come on, when was the last time we saw an isekai with card games? It's a new and original concept, so make sure to give it a watch. 9. I've been killing slimes for 300 years.
風よ、今こそ我のしもべとなりて吹き荒れよ。なるほど、竜巻の。
Let's keep the trend of overpowered female characters and move on to another power fantasy show with a strong female character. The story has us follow the afterlife of a corporate slave, Azusa Aizawa. After she dies due to overworking, she was given a second chance by a goddess who gives her immortality and a chance to live a better life in another world. She decides to live her new life taking care of her farm, guarding the nearby village, and killing a few slimes per day as a routine. However, her monotonous life for 3 centuries takes a turn when she comes to the realization that she has reached the maximum level possible for inhabitants in their world through killing slimes alone. If you love an overpowered isekai with slimes, then this is the show for you. 8. Saga of Tanya the Evil.
与えたまえ。
Okay, it's 3 in a row with female characters because our next anime involves an evil psychopath lolly girl. After an average Japanese salaryman has killed a mysterious entity known as the Being X, transports him to a war-torn world and turns him into a girl named Tanya. Tanya has an increased hatred towards Being X, whom she refers to as God, and to survive in the world and take her revenge, she decides to enroll in the military academy and rise to the top. Tanya is a perfect isekai anti-hero. She doesn't hesitate to bury her enemies with bullets and turn the battlefield to a bloodbath. If you love anti-hero isekai anime, then this is a show for you. 7. Shinka No Mi. Can a fruit make you overpowered? Of course it can. This is anime after all. This time, similar to our good old Arifureta, a whole class gets transported into a magical fantasy world, and this poor guy lands in a completely different area. There he eats the ultimate fruit of evolution and evolves into a whole new character. In terms of originality, Shinka No Mi doesn't do anything new, but it does a really good job by following the existing tropes and adding new and cool elements to them. Of course, just like every power fantasy, you get the main character's good old harem joining in to make him even happier. 6. The Great Jai Will Not Be Defeated. This is not going to be one of that serious isekai, but the name itself says Jai will not be defeated, so you should know by now that this girl is completely undefeatable. This anime tells how one demon lord who is disguised as a child deals with day-to-day problems. It might be some problem with her day-to-day job, or a fight with her landlady whenever the rent is late. But there is no single day this demon lord can spend without getting involved in some trouble. Like I said, this is not going to be one of those serious stories with tons of action and an overarching plot, but if you want something enjoyable to binge watch, then this show is definitely for you. 5. Kyushu Giga. Do you want an isekai with some heavy work building elements plus an interesting set of main characters? Kyushu Giga doesn't start with your average got transported to another world isekai story. Once upon a time, there lived a monk named Mayu who had the power to bring anything he drew back to life. But when the locals started complaining about his creations, he fled into his own fantasy world with his wife and children. Now when Mayu disappears with his wife, it's up to the 3 children to figure out how to run the city and how to control the fantasy world their dad created. As I said, it's a fun show that puts a new twist on the isekai genre, so make sure to give it a watch. 4. The Eighth Son? Are you kidding me?
循環させていき
This is one of those stories like Wise Man's Grandchild, where an average boy in a world is reincarnated into another world as an overpowered noble child. So what's this story about? One day, a regular Japanese salaryman wakes up in the magical fantasy world as the 8th son of a noble. In this noble family, the eldest son inherits the wealth, and the other sons need to find their own methods to make a living. Fortunately, this 8th son, Wendelin von Benno Baumeister, learns that he can cast magic. When the great wizard Alfred finds him, he's soon trained to become a great adventurer. If you love isekai fantasy with an overpowered guy who comes from a noble family, then this is the show for you. 3. Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. What happens when the goddess who summoned you to the isekai world is not someone who's very friendly? When Makoto Misumi is sent to another world, the goddess of that world strips him of all his titles because his face looks ugly. Now trapped in a land full of monsters, our boy Makoto should face various trials in order to get back the powers he lost. Even though the title Moonlit Fantasy looks like words ripped off from a children's fairy tale, the actual anime is much darker. If you love those overpowered anime guys who start off with nothing and then becomes way too overpowered to kick the asses of the people who laughed at them, then you'll love the show. 2 problem children are coming from another world. Here, we follow not only one but 3 main characters. Izayoi Sakamaki, Asuka Kudu, and Yu Kasukabe are children with psychic abilities, but after receiving a letter, they're dropped into this strange isekai world where they're forced to participate in a game. Nope, this isn't one of those tension-filled death game anime where the characters want to kill each other to see who's more powerful. This is one of those shows you can binge watch just so you can see how the main characters kick the asses of the rest of the people in the game. Come on, anyone who has seen how powerful Izayoi Sakamaki really is will agree with me. 1. Misfit Demon King Academy.
心臓の鼓動だ
Yeah, I know you saw this coming, but we cannot finish this list without mentioning this guy. You've got a demon lord who kills his opponent, resurrects him back, and kills him again in the very first episode itself. So the main character here is not just regular overpowered, but he has the ability to snap his fingers and kill people, bring back souls from the dead, and even kill a whole army without breaking a sweat. If you need some power fantasy with a great main character, then this would be a great addition to your watch list. Anos will surprise you with his power over and over again, and even the toughest opponents find trouble facing him when the man is at the peak of his power. So there goes 10 isekai anime where the main character is undefeatable. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and show me your support. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't joined us and want to see more awesome content like this. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.